Mid and East Antrim looks forward to welcoming the Royal Horticultural Society Britain in Bloom judges each summer. This year, we are submitting a video entry instead. We hope this will show some of the great work ongoing in Cullybackey, despite the challenging circumstances we face. Good luck, Cullybackey.
Several years ago, this was a derelict area. It was covered in dockings, grass, rubbish. So we as a group decided we would need to do something with it. So the first 2 years we cultivated it and sowed wildflowers, and that was really successful. But then we thought, well, we would do something less labour intensive, so we thought about an orchard. So we decided to plant apple trees, pear trees and plum trees. So we went and bought 20 apple trees, and we got the children from the local school to help us plant them. Following on from that, the group decided then we'll have a harvest supper. So in the autumn of that year, we went and rented a juicer, bought a number of kilos of apples, and the ladies of the group baked apple tarts and tray bakes. So we invited 30-40 people along to this event, and we had what we would call a harvest supper. So we had juice, apples, apple tart, cakes and whatever, and it proved to be very successful. In fact, it was so successful we're going to do the same this year again. Then this particular spring we planted another 30 apple trees. So we've had approximately 50 apple trees planted in the apple, pear and plum trees planted in the village.
We in Cullybackey like to recycle as much as we can, and one of our members, Bertie, is really good at that. So he recycles everything he can get his hands on, and we've got this nice watering can done by Bertie, and our bed here is sponsored by Boots. I think you'll appreciate it is enjoyed by everybody.
Welcome to Cullybackey's Tober Park play area and multi-use games area. This project was funded by Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs Village Renewal Programme. In total, the project's valued £375,000 and were developed through a consultative process with local residents. The final design for the play area and multi-use games area came about through consultation with local residents. Local residents informed the plan by ensuring that it struck a balance between providing inclusive equipment for those children with additional needs, whilst also providing challenge for older children. Here at Mid and East Antrim Borough Council, we're delighted we were able to complete this park in 2020 during the height of the COVID crisis, when so many other facilities had to close. Since then, we have seen thousands of children through the park, and we're sure that it'll go from strength to strength in years to come.
This area where we are, which is the top floor of the building, it lay unused for a long number of years until we decided to apply for some funding. And we used that to convert this area here into a community hall, or call it a village hall. It was completed at the end of February 2020, and of course, as you know, the lockdown came then. We realised that we were going to lose contact with the community, really because we weren't really allowed to interact with them. But we felt that we would have to help in some way, so we applied for funding to the Mid and East Antrim Council, and they gave us a grant, and we used that to make up food parcels and delivered those throughout the community. In fact, we went quite a bit outside the village with some of them. Now, that was all done COVID safe by our volunteers and by a very, very helpful group of Army cadets. These young people were absolutely excellent in really helping us out there. But as a result of that, the reaction we got to that was so pronounced. Some people got very emotional about it because we'd been reaching people that we hadn't really been reaching before, and for that reason they sort of felt, well, this is great, somebody's actually thinking about us. So sort of buoyed on by that, we decided that we would apply for more funding, but this time we gave them sort of growing kit for growing vegetables. We had a tray, we had seeds, we had gloves and trowel and the rest of it. But this time we distributed them to a slightly different group. and it was more in the estates, which again, this kept increasing our contact with the community. Just around that time, we became aware that Toyota were running something they called the 2020 award scheme. And this was something whereby they were awarding £25,000 grants to deserving groups that they felt might do some good work in the community. And maybe very much to our surprise, they very quickly told us that yes, we'd been successful. We'd said we'd buy some tablets, we'd do some Zoom sessions, and we'd distribute some parcels. So we began, we bought the tablets. They were intended to be given out on loan to anyone in the community who didn't have the wherewithal to join in Zoom sessions and so on. We then organised, say, the 10 Zoom sessions. These covered a variety of subjects. There was cookery, nutrition, gardening, flower arranging, laughter yoga. So it really was quite a variety. And the response to that was terrific because we had upwards of 30 joining in on every session.
The sessions run from April to probably about November, December time. And I should have said, of course, it's pharmacy led as well. We definitely need the pharmacists there for most of the topics to give us their knowledge about looking after ourselves in many ways, and definitely looking after ourselves, how we nourish our bodies as well.
So we then planned to give each primary school child from their roughly 450 a goodie bag, and each child will get something to eat, something to read, and something to grow. There'll be a packet of seeds in that as well, so that they will in the future maybe have an interest in gardening and be here to help us in the future when they'll be very much needed, because we always need young people coming on to help out with that area of work. One of the other things that we did was run our annual Best Kept Garden, and that there's always been an interest in it, but this year, or should I say last year, we ran more of a social media campaign encouraging everyone to make their garden looking well so that they might be successful in that competition. That worked out very well because when the judging was done, there were quite a number of new people who hadn't previously won, and that meant again we were meeting up with more people than we had done before, including a lady and her 95-year-old father who had decided to not to work in their own garden, but there was a sort of end of terrace area that was a bit grey and not very well kept, and they planted it all up with all sorts of shrubs and sunflowers and all kinds of things, and did a great job. So the judge was very impressed with that kind of community effort.
One member of the community came up to us and talked to us about possibly doing a project involving knitting and crocheting flowers. She had seen it on the internet, and it was somewhere in England that had did a most beautiful display of knitted flowers to recognise the NHS. So we thought that was a great idea, and this was how it started, thinking we would have got 1 or 2 knitted flowers, but social media being a great tool, put it out in social media, and we ended up with, I think it was about 350 knitted flowers. So we put together a couple of different displays to recognise the NHS. Again, we had interacted with different people within the community and were able to use their skills and get them involved. I suppose the other thing I want to mention has been the use of social media. Throughout the pandemic, I suppose this has been more important than ever. So we made good use of Facebook and tried to, I suppose, keep involved with people through Facebook. People had sent us in photographs of their flowers, whether it be knitted, whether it be in their gardens, and we were able to post those pictures up on Facebook. We were able to inform people of what was going on and keep people up to date. So certainly social media has been a great way of keeping people involved throughout this last year and a half.
I just wanted to say I'm really, really glad that so many of you have seen a beetle, because they're actually in decline in the whole world, but also here in the UK. So the numbers are going down, which is really, really sad, because we need beetles and we need all insects and we need pollinators. They're also really, really important for the ecosystem. We need the beetles and the insects, because especially beetles, where we're building the homes for today, the beetles actually are really good to have in your garden and around the school grounds, because they eat aphids and some of the bigger ones even eat slugs and snails. I think this is enough information for one morning, and you're all raring to go in building our little insect hotels, especially beetle hotels.
This is our village garden area. It's looking very well at the moment, but when we started and took this over several years ago, it was looking derelict. Very few people were visiting it, and now it's very much visited. We started off filling in the lade area here, which was an old lade full of weeds and rubbish and no water in it, so we filled it in and we planted it with wildflowers for the last number of years. We followed on with planting fruit trees around the outside, gooseberry trees and apple, pear and plum again. And then a local sculptor lady made us this Alice in Wonderland, which we find has been a great attraction to the village. Many children come to see it. So we have the proper boards here giving all the information about Alice in Wonderland, and across the park we have a cat and we have a bug. Also, this park we have been awarded the Green Flag Award. We have another horse here, which is another sculpture made. Many people now visit this park and enjoy it, and we're pleased with the progress we've made in it. This area is part of the Millennium Walk, which was created at the Millennium, and it has been used extensively every day. This here is one of our biodiversity areas, and it was planted about 3 years ago. It is very easily managed, there's no maintenance on it at all. It is great for wildlife, bugs, bees, whatever. And come the winter time, then we have bulbs and snowdrops and crocuses planted in it, and they come and replace this in the winter time. So it has been a great success and it's very much admired.
Welcome to this Cullybackey's Millennium Walk. This is a 2-kilometre pathway which starts at the bustling main street in Cullybackey, following the main river to here, Galgorm Wood. It's a popular walk with families and dog walkers, many of whom enjoy the sights of rabbit, squirrel and a wealth of bird life, including kingfisher and heron on their daily walks. Members of the public are able to enjoy this beautiful walk thanks to a permissive path agreement between the landowners and council. In recent months, council have been working really closely with one of the local landowners, the world-renowned Galgorm Resort and Spa, in order to explore opportunities to create a 14-kilometre path network leading to Galgorm Village and further on to Ecost Nature Park in Ballymena. This will be a fantastic project which will benefit many local people, socially, economically and environmentally. Here we have a capital project which was completed in 2020 thanks to funding from the Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs. In total, £65,000 of funding was secured to deliver this outdoor gym area, waymarkers and interpretation panels. This project was identified through a consultative process with the local residents and was delivered in 2020 at the height of the global pandemic, offering lots of opportunities for outdoor recreation and exercise, particularly amongst our younger residents.